What would you do if you discovered that the three people you trusted most in the world had been orchestrating your downfall for months? What if everything you believed about love, loyalty, and family turned out to be an elaborate lie? I'm Anya, and at 25, I thought I had it all figured out. A loving husband, a best friend who knew all my secrets, and a family who supported my dreams. But sometimes the people closest to you are the ones sharpening the knife for your back. When I returned from my 3-month business trip to Singapore 2 days early, eager to surprise Marcus with news of my promotion, our house felt wrong. The air was thick with secrets I couldn't name yet. I had been working 18-hour days in Southeast Asia, closing deals that would secure our future. Marcus knew how hard I'd worked for this moment. He knew how much I needed his support after losing our baby 2 years ago. But as I pulled into our driveway that Thursday evening, luxury cars lined our street. Mercedes, BMWs, a Tesla that definitely wasn't ours. Through our living room window, I could see celebration, hear voices and clinking glasses. The front door swung open before I could turn the handle. The conversation died instantly. 20 pairs of eyes stared at me like I was an intruder in my own home. That's when I saw her. Chloe, my best friend since college, stood in the center of our living room wearing a flowing maternity dress, her hands protectively cradling a belly that was unmistakably 6 months along. The baby bump that hadn't existed when I'd left for Singapore. My mother-in-law Vivian was kneeling beside Chloe, stroking that precious curve while cooing about nursery colors. My own mother, Delia, was bustling around with champagne flutes, playing hostess in my own home. And there, standing behind them all like a deer caught in headlights, was Marcus. My husband, the father of the child my best friend was carrying. Anya, darling, you're early. We were just celebrating the wonderful news, Vivian said, smoothing her designer dress. What wonderful news would that be, Vivian? My voice came out steadier than I felt. Chloe stepped forward, tears forming in her eyes. Anya, I can explain. Can you? Please, explain to me how you're 6 months pregnant with my husband's child. Explain to me why everyone in this room seems to know about it except the woman who's been paying for this house. Marcus finally found his voice. Anya, please, just listen. Listen to what, Marcus? Listen to how you all planned this celebration in my home, with my money, while I was overseas working to support us? My mother stepped forward. Sweetheart, these things happen. Marriage is complicated. These things happen? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. My husband cheating with my best friend isn't something that just happens, Mom. It's a choice. I walked to the gift table. Among the wrapped presents was a delicate white onesie with world's most loved baby embroidered in golden thread, $65 for one tiny outfit. I held it up for everyone to see. Do you know how many $65 baby outfits I could have bought with the money I've been sending home every month? Do you know how many nurseries I could have decorated while I was working 16-hour days in Singapore? With deliberate slowness, I tore the onesie down the middle. The delicate fabric ripped with a satisfying sound. I threw the pieces at Marcus's feet. That's what you did to our marriage. That's what you did to our friendship, Chloe. Chloe was crying openly now. Anya, please, it wasn't planned. It just happened. When you found out you were pregnant, you decided to keep it. You decided to let my husband play happy family with you while his actual wife was overseas. You all decided that I was expendable. I turned to face the room. How long have you all known? How long have you been planning this little family reunion behind my back? My father, George, cleared his throat. Anya, we were going to tell you when you got back. How long, Chloe? I interrupted. When did it start? The room held its breath. It started in January, she whispered. January. I had left for Singapore in February. They had been together for 2 months before I even left the country. January, when I was working extra shifts to save money for this trip. January, when I was so excited to tell you both about the Singapore opportunity. I walked over to Marcus. Did you laugh about it? When I called crying because I missed you, were you laughing with her about how stupid your wife was? His silence was answer enough. I want everyone out of my house. Now. Take your gifts. Take your champagne. This party is over. Vivian tried to approach me. This is my son's house too, Anya. Actually, it's not. My name is on the deed. My money paid every mortgage payment. This is my house, and you're no longer welcome in it. The next morning, I was sitting in the office of Julian Reeves, the most ruthless divorce attorney in the city. His reputation preceded him. He specialized in high-asset divorces where infidelity was involved. Mrs. Chen, he said, reviewing my notes. This is quite a comprehensive case of adultery and financial deception. Tell me about your assets. The house is in my name only. I have records of all the money I've been sending home from Singapore, $8,000 per month for 3 months. I pulled out a thick folder. I have records of everything Marcus purchased in the last 6 months. Expensive dinners, jewelry, even a weekend trip to Napa Valley that I funded but wasn't invited to. There's more. I showed him a screenshot. 3 months ago, Marcus added Chloe's name to our joint savings account, forging my digital signature. Julian's interest was clearly piqued. Do you have proof? Security footage from the bank showing Marcus entering a loan on the day the changes were made. Email confirmations I can prove I never saw because I was overseas. Julian began making notes. Financial fraud, adultery, breach of fiduciary duty. I don't want spousal support. I want justice. I want them to understand that there are consequences for betraying someone who trusted them completely. Julian's smile was sharp and predatory. Mrs. Chen, I think we're going to get along very well. Within a week, Julian had filed emergency injunctions freezing all joint accounts and credit cards. Marcus and Chloe suddenly found themselves cut off from the financial resources they'd been enjoying at my expense. Marcus called me 17 times in one day, leaving increasingly desperate voicemails that ranged from angry to pleading. Don't answer, Julian advised. Let them panic. Panic makes people make mistakes. The mistakes came quickly. Marcus tried accessing our joint account multiple times, triggering fraud alerts. Chloe posted on social media about their difficult situation, providing evidence of their relationship timeline. 2 weeks later, Julian called with news. They want to settle. They're offering you the house, all marital assets, and $50,000. What's the catch? A non-disclosure agreement. No social media posts, no discussing the circumstances with friends, no public statements. What would their settlement be worth in total? Close to $400,000, plus the house value of $600,000. And they're offering me $50,000 and a gag order? I laughed. Counteroffer. I want everything. The house, all assets. And I want Marcus to publicly admit to the adultery and financial deception. No gag order. Julian had also uncovered additional evidence. Marcus had been systematically transferring money from our joint account for almost 8 months, not just the 3 months I'd been in Singapore. He'd been planning this betrayal longer than anyone realized. The final settlement hearing was scheduled for a Thursday morning in November. I arrived wearing my best business suit, the same one I'd worn when signing the Singapore contract that had funded Marcus and Chloe's love affair. Marcus looked terrible. He'd lost weight, his hair was unkempt, Chloe wasn't with him. For a man who'd supposedly found his soulmate, he seemed remarkably alone. When the judge asked for final statements, I stood up. Your Honor, I want to make this about consequences. When someone chooses to betray their spouse, when they choose to defraud their partner financially, there have to be consequences. Otherwise, we're teaching people that trust has no value. I looked directly at Marcus. I loved you enough to work 18-hour days in a foreign country to support our dreams. I trusted you enough to give you access to every dollar I earned. You took all of that love and trust and used it to fund a relationship with my best friend. The judge awarded me everything. The house, all marital assets, and a judgment for financial damages totaling $300,000. As we left the courthouse, Marcus tried to approach me one last time. Anya, wait. I know you hate me, but I need you to know that I never wanted it to happen this way. Marcus, you planned this for 8 months. You forged my signature. You used my money to date another woman. You celebrated getting her pregnant in our living room while I was working overseas. Nothing about this just happened. What about Chloe? What about the baby? Chloe made her choice when she decided to sleep with her best friend's husband. The baby will be raised by its parents. That's not my responsibility anymore. I walked away, leaving Marcus standing on the courthouse steps. I didn't look back. 6 months later, I was sitting in my new office overlooking the city skyline. The consulting firm from Singapore had offered me a permanent position in Los Angeles, with a salary that made my previous income look modest. My assistant brought me mail. Among it was a cream-colored envelope with familiar handwriting. Chloe had written me a letter. The letter was an apology, but not what I'd expected. She wrote about how quickly everything had fallen apart once the financial pressure began. Marcus had become controlling and resentful, blaming her for ruining his life. He'd started drinking heavily and become emotionally